LA is the Wild West. Okay, our next storyteller, guys, there's a lot of PAC performers tonight, I realized. Our next performer performs every Wednesday here at the PAC. He is on the improv team group chat. Ha, didn't have to look at the notes. At 8 p.m. every Wednesday, please give it up for Dylan McGrath.
That song is compared to what? It is the greatest song in the history of the universe. When I got the email for the show, it was themed dad, and I had to pick a song for when I came up here and to name my set. So there's only one song, compared to what? My dad heard it on WXPN, and it's Les McCann and Eddie Harris. They did a live show at the Montreux Festival, and it's the Les McCann Trio and the Eddie Harris Quartet. And he got the CD after hearing it on the radio, and he drove me to school every day. So I sat down in his car, put in the CD, and said, "Dylan, I got this new CD. Has a song compared to what on it?" He hit play, and started. The piano line was going. It was nice. We left my driveway, and we're driving to school. And it turns out the song is 8 minutes and 42 seconds long. It takes 8 minutes and 42 seconds to get from my driveway to the front door of Pennsauken High School. And my dad loved this song. He listened to it every day. We listened to it. It went a couple weeks, and I was like, okay, this is fine. He loves this song. His next Bob Dylan album will come out, we'll listen to that. Nora Jones will come out, you can listen to that. But it didn't stop. It's compared to what? Compared to what? And it was months went by. I'm talking like 7 months every day. I sit down in the passenger seat of my dad's car to go to high school at 6 in the morning. The piano line starts playing. It became like a jazz Jaws theme song. The cowbell just starts coming and drilling into your brain. I couldn't take it anymore. And after a couple months, we would get to the front of the school where all the parents were dropping off their children, or I guess teenagers at that point. And the line would get real long, but there was a sidewalk that walked all the way along it. So as soon as we got to that sidewalk, I would hop out so I could miss the last minute of the song, which is basically just all the solos wrapping up and coming together, and it comes to an end with Les McCann thanking the whole band. So I would try and get out of the car before that happened. And I would just walk with my friend, and I would find anyone I knew and just start talking to them. But my dad didn't allow me being out of the car to be an excuse for me not to hear compared to what. So he would roll down all the windows of the car and turn it up loud enough that you could hear it outside the car. He would hold up all the other parents and just drive slowly next to me at whatever my walking pace was. The entire sidewalk, and he would just keep going and going. Didn't matter how many people were honking at him. We would then once you got to the middle of the sidewalk, you would have to walk away from the road to the high school. So he would park and hold up the entire line and turn it up with me. So the further away I was getting, the louder the music was getting. So then as I was walking in the front door, I would hear, "Dan Dean, Eddie Harris," and I would close the door, and that was how I started my day, every day for 7 or 8 months. And my dad had been driving me to school since I was in elementary school. And in elementary school, he would drop me off, and I was a real little kid, and kids would pick on me, and my dad would always say, "Don't take crap from no one." He said that every single day before I went into school. So after 7 months of hearing the same song over and over again, I said, "Dad, you have to pick a new song. I can't listen to Compared to What anymore." He said, "Dylan, Compared to What is the greatest song in the history of the universe." So I got out of the car at the next stop sign, said, "Fuck you," slammed the door in his face, and walked off. And after 2 blocks of walking, my dad caught up to me, convinced me to get back in the car. I get in the car, Compared to What starts continuing to play. He hasn't changed that. That's still playing. I get to school, so I went and found my friend Caitlin, who was a senior, and I said, "You drive to school, right?" She said, "Yep." I said, "Can you pick me up?" She said, "Yep." So then I never drove to school with my dad again after that. And I was positive that would be the end of hearing Compared to What. But then The Roots, which are one of my favorite bands, did an album with John Legend, and they do a cover of Compared to What. But in their version, they don't say "God damn it" after one of the verses, which is my dad's favorite part. It's the greatest "God damn it" ever recorded on tape. And The Roots didn't do it, and that's what my dad says anytime he hears that version. "Oh, they didn't do the "God damn it." And then just last month, I moved in with a person from my improv team, group chat, every Wednesday here at 8. And we got a couple boxes of records, and she just picked a random Roberta Flack album, threw it on, and the first song starts playing, and the first line is "I lie to love and I love to lie." And I was like, "That's Compared to What?" And it was a Compared to What cover, and Les McCann produced this Roberta Flack album, and it just happened to be this album that ended up in my house. And my brother and I, a couple days after that happened, were at a record shop, and I was flipping through the jazz. I went to L and just pulled it out, and right there in my face was Les McCann, Eddie Harris. Les McCann, Eddie Harris, live at Montreux Festival. It was the album that I had heard every day of my sophomore year of high school. So I bought it and went home, put it on, listened to Compared to What, and I knew every single note I could have. I feel like I can play that song on drums or sax or any piano, any instrument in that song, I can play it. And after that song ended, it turns out there's more to the album. I had never heard past the first song, and I started listening to it, and like it's this great jazz album, and there's like Compared to What is this whole setup for the entire album. So throughout the album, there's like these little riffs and lines on the piano or on the sax that come from Compared to What. And the only reason I was noticing any of that was because I had heard this song every single day for 7 months. And I listened to the album like 5 times in a row. I was just, this is a great album. And I realized that my dad was right. Compared to What is the greatest song in the history of the universe.